Before I took office, there were a lot of folks out there making some pretty bold predictions about how things would turn out. You might remember some of the predictions.
They're coming for your guns, they're coming for your jobs, and they're coming for your freedom. They hate American energy, and Joe Biden will shut it all down. He's going to.
That if I became president...
Biden's elected, he will wipe out your energy industry.
Another prediction, that is my favorite one, I must add, is that if I got elected...
Gas prices going $5, $6, $7 for a gallon. Flood your communities with criminal aliens, drugs, and crime while they live behind beautiful gated compounds. They try to take away your guns, Second Amendment, they want to take it away, while they enjoy private security that's fully armed.
I never understood that one.
To spend trillions of dollars rebuilding foreign nations, fighting foreign wars, and defending foreign borders.
So for all those predictions of doom and gloom 6 months in, here's where we stand.
Do you want to use the word recession or depression?
Think of the single mom struggling to put food on the table each month.
You know, it's sad.
So if your primary concern right now is inflation...
We could stop it in 30 minutes.
When I took office...
He finally went outside. He went to get an ice cream.
Look, the bottom line is this.
I say you're not doing a very good job. Because he can't take any questions now from the press.
Welcome back to the Tim and Steve Show. That is the best thing you've contributed to the show the whole time.
I didn't do it. It was
no, you didn't make it.
By somebody else.
You found it though.
It's funny.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
Who knew that Trump was a soothsayer?
That's funny. How are you, Steve?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
You found that yesterday after the show, and I was like, "Oh, we got to find a way we can use that because it's just funny." We were laughing our butts off yesterday when we saw it, and then and so you emailed it and it worked out. So I was happy. So we put that into, well, we just put it in the beginning of the show, but I wish I had the time to do those things.
I did not edit that. Just want to make sure that was fun.
Yeah, no, I don't know who edited it. Yeah. They did a good job with it. It's funny though. Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, it was actually a perfect lead to. So I was heading my appointment yesterday, and I took my bike out. It was a nice day out, so I'm like, I'll take the bike. And
so you got it back from the.
Nah, I didn't brought it there yet.
Oh, I thought you had already dropped it off.
No, I need to bring it over there. Need to get all the fluids changed and inspection, all that good stuff. But no, I ain't got that.
June is motorcycle inspection month, according to a sign I saw down downtown Newport.
It is. So it's a good idea I do that. It hasn't been done since I owned it. But anyways, there's this, I don't know, there's a couple kids walking down the road. I was down by the SAU actually. 12-ish. Somewhere in that area. Not good. The older you get, the worse I get at guessing ages, I found. But this girl had a "Let's Go Brandon" towel like on her back. She was walking down the road with it. And I saw that and I laughed so hard. I was like, oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's heading to the pool. I mean,
maybe.
The river, maybe.
Probably the river. Can't afford anything else. So, no.
It's ridiculous. Well, hey, gas prices I saw dropped 20 cents when I was driving back home this morning. I stayed at my brother's last night. So
where'd you see there? What were they?
It was $4.89, and yesterday I think it was $4.99. Or at least it was in Claremont, because I remember thinking, right below $5 when because I went to Harbor Freight and get some.
It's weird because Claremont's always more.
Tools.
Is always more.
Yeah, it's always a little bit more, but
I don't know why, but it's always.
But not 20 cents more, but it's like 5-10 cents more at least.
Yeah. And then, when
county tax or something, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or not county because we're in the same county, but town tax.
I don't think it's town tax on gas.
Then why would it be 10 cents more in Claremont? That's the only thing I can think of.
No, it's state tax. There's no county or town or. Nope.
It would have to be, though. Because why wouldn't it be the same?
Different company, different location. I don't know.
No, because they're all pretty much 10, 12 cents more in Claremont. It's got to be something local to the town.
Gas is more expensive in southern New Hampshire. Explain that.
Yeah. It's by town or county. It's got to be I don't know. I'll look it up. I'll figure it out. Maybe by tomorrow I'll have an answer of why there's a difference between Claremont and Newport gas prices.
I noticed. I noticed you're getting low on hats again.
Yeah, I'm wearing my hiking / gardening, mowing, but I don't wear it all the time because I obviously have a sunburn on my neck a little bit.
Oh,
I did the other day.
It was warm out there yesterday.
I worked. I ended up planting some more corn because all the ones that I started didn't work out. Like not all 72 of them made it. I started 72, so I ended up planting 7 rows of 9, so like 63 more. I mean, they're from seed, so let's hope that they grow. But they're on the outside, so I've tried to put the started ones on the inside of the block and then move those to the outside. But it's a hybrid corn, so it's not non-GMO. And I don't even know how they can advertise non-GMO because corn itself is genetically modified allegedly since we figured out how to cultivate it from the Native Americans or the South American. I mean, granted, I'm going off my memory of a documentary on corn I watched 12 to 20 years ago, so I might be totally wrong on that because I have an auditory memory. Like that's how if you say something to me, I'll remember it more than if I read it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. It's my own way of memorizing things is I associate like 9 different things with something so I don't forget it. Like I'm usually pretty good with songs or movies because I can relate it to something else that happened, and I can pretty much usually within a year I'm correct. I'll prop myself up a little bit. I'm proud of my memory skills while I have them.
Right.
In case anybody was wondering about.
If anyone even cared about
machinations of Steve's brain and how he associates and remembers stuff.
So the last day of school was yesterday for Newport. So now they're on the summer vacation. So our news for the school will probably be dwindling every day now because, well, they're not in school until next fall. But
well, there's still a lot of stuff going on.
There is. We'll just have to look harder for it.
Yeah, well, there was a advisory committee last night I attended.
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, they just kind of went over the stuff that we did on the CTE committee. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch. So what they're doing is they got input, and the town was invited out. And sadly, most of us that were there were involved in some way between either the RAC, which is what is that? I can't remember what the R stands for, but it's basically the Renovation Advisory Committee. So there are members of that, and then I'm on the CTE committee as a school board representative, and so I was there. And there were like 2 townsfolk, I think, that weren't involved in some of that type of committee. But you could provide feedback for what looks the aesthetics to the architects. So they kind of went over that last night in the RAC. They showed what the students and the adults found, and I guess from that perspective, they said what was interesting was the welding, the agriculture, the business management, even though they're different fields, they all had the same taste, which is simplistic, no color, like not no color, but very limited color choice, but wood, stone, a lot of natural light, which I'm a big fan of natural light because I feel like when you have natural light, it helps you to focus. It's better than like a hospital setting with closed-in tight spaces. It kind of, you feel claustrophobic. And so anyway, so they went over that, and basically between the students and those of us from the community that showed up to provide our input, we were all kind of on the same sheet of music, kind of sticking with, for the new build anyway, because it is for the agriculture center, the building, the new part that, because they're going to renovate the inside of the Sugar River Valley Technical Center, and then they're also going to build agriculture building. And so they got 2 different sites that they're looking at, and they kind of talked about that. They're still waiting on the ecological impact study to find out, to help base the decision. But anyway, it's going to have more of a barn feel, so that aesthetic is what everybody was kind of looking for, with lots of natural light coming in. Anyway, so that was interesting. And then we talked about the construction management firm that was selected. which is Harvey.
Harvey.
So they'll be actually supervising and overseeing the day-to-day operations of the renovation and the build. And they'll meet with Mr. Perry because Miss Opolinski's leaving us here in a few weeks. It's a big loss. You know, it's hard to when you have a loss like that, but Mr. Perry is stepping right in and doing a great job.
Yeah, no, kids have already talked super highly of him. So it's good.
So, you know, it's sad to lose her, but
Yeah.
I'm confident that we have a good replacement, and we're fortunate that we have him.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate to have her for the last 3 years, and she will be missed. And she has a lot of her time and energy invested in this project, so it's kind of hard for her. Just watching, it's kind of hard for her to say goodbye. I'm sure it's a little bit easier because she'll be working closer to home and won't have to travel as far.
Right, because
but
she lived up north, right?
I think towards Laconia way, out towards the
I thought it was
lake
even
out
further,
there.
maybe. Yeah, it would sound like it was a ways away. And yeah, no, that sounds positive. Things are moving forward with
Yeah,
that.
so things are moving forward, and I think the rack is available to watch online if you want to go and see. I didn't say anything because I'm not on that committee, but it's good to get their input because I'm on like the CTE committee, which is we can meet rapidly to make decisions.
You make rapid decisions.
And so going to that committee or watching it, and I guess I would have participated if I felt that was required for me to say anything, but they had it all covered. But it provides me with the input I need from the advisors so that when I meet in that capacity, I can put their input to work because I know what they have said. So it's good. It's working together as it should, and looking forward to some great changes. You know, changes in the sense of a larger facility that the town passed by a margin of like 82 or 1%. Something
Yeah,
like that.
it was good. Yeah, it was really good. And then, which is perfect here leading this. So I saw that. Congratulations to Kay Maynard, who was the first Triple Crown of the CTE. So he finished auto, natural resources, and EMT. So and there's like a picture and like a little plaque with his name on it. So I think it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well-rounded. He'll be able to find work or start his own business up and contract himself out for different things. I mean, obviously he needs more experience, but
No, it's good. And then I see you made the newspaper.
oh, my picture
Well, your
was in
picture.
the newspaper.
I think the picture is funny, and we will find a way to put that up somehow because that is funny. But what's the article about?
Was it more tumult on the board or tension on the board? Was the title of the article. And it just talks about the last week's school board meeting, how Miss Glancy handed in her resignation. Rhonda Callum King resigned from the board. And they put the onus in the article anyway, all on Mr. Spalding. And that's kind of what the meeting in April, which that picture is from.
Yeah, that was April.
That was the one that was in the gym where everybody voiced their concern with Mr. Spalding, and then it continued on after Patrice's resignation. And the article is basically highlighting, you know, when are you going to be done, Mr. Spalding, kind of type of thing. Like, who else are you going for? I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm reading into it, but it talked about how Miss Irwin called out the board, making sure that we know how the score, the testing, the rankings are all done. Like, I'm not so, like, School Digger is important in the sense of people moving out here, because there's other ones. There's great schools.
Right.
And so, you know, and I've said it before, as a parent, that I want my child to succeed. It was important to me. So I knew coming into it that Newport, even 3.5 years ago, wasn't ranked. I mean, it wasn't ranked this low, and Zeta wasn't going to elementary school, but
Right.
the rankings are down. But we talk about it all the time, and not to dismiss the test scores and all that other stuff, because I am not a proponent of teaching to tests.
Right. No.
That's Zeta did that in the 5th grade in Texas, and I was very disappointed in the Texas school system because that's what I grew up in, and I don't remember ever being taught to the test. And I think that they base their teachers' hiring and firing along the lines of the test. At least they used to. Maybe they don't anymore. Like, I'm not in tune with what's going on in Texas, but that was the case back in the day. And that's not a way to try to teach children.
Right.
That's not teaching them to be successful. It's teaching them to be successful at a test. And so from that perspective, whenever I, as a member of the board, now obviously when I'm talking, I'm not talking for the board, I'm talking for myself. Yes, tests are important, but they're not the be-all, end-all. And I think that some of it goes back to parents encouraging their students to succeed and to try at everything that they do to put their best effort forward. Because I know from talking to kids that are, we're in school with Zeta, that they don't really care. They just hit the button because it's not important to them. So when you have, so this is just my take, I guess I'm kind of going off, not on a rant, but it takes a village, right? So the teachers are not the parents of these students. The teachers encourage them and provide them with the tools, but at the end of the day, it's us as parents putting the onus on our kid. Hey,
Right.
Try hard, because it affects things like this, because it's out of all of our control once the student sits down behind the computer. And from teaching, I did 6 months as a long-term substitute. I can tell you that the students that are in, 4th grade to 9th grade now that I taught at the elementary school, the English portion anyway, the language arts portion, more should be successful than what is showing up on the test results. Like, I know that personally, so I understand that the numbers look bad, and I want the numbers to be better, but I also am not going and gunning for everybody because the test scores are bad, because it's a multi-point process. We just need to come up with a solution as a town to say, all right, and that's what we were trying to do with the road to success. And, I understood after the second briefing probably 90% of what I needed to know, and I just had a few questions that I had asked Ms. Glancy, which is more along the lines of what resources do you need, because
Right.
she laid out the different programs that they're utilizing, all the grants, and that was mentioned in the article. Well, I don't know if it was mentioned in the article, but it was mentioned at the last school board meeting that I think Ms. Glancy had written 15 out of 16 grants that we were utilizing. And
Yeah, and grant writers are hard to find
yeah,
because it's a special set. Writing grants is not an easy thing. It has to be just right, or they reject them every time. And so, like, if you have some project you want to write a grant for, you have to find a grant writer, because if not, like if me and you just wrote it, it has to meet parameters. Like, it's just the strict way that it is. Did I make that article?
you did not make the article.
Man, I thought my
Paula Johnson made the article with her speech where she kind of, she was being, I don't know if sarcasm was the right word, but she was highlighting the goodness that we're losing with Ms.
Right.
Glancy.
Right.
And so that's kind of what the article is about. It's focusing on Mr. Spalding and his comments and his behavior, or whatever you want to call it, his thought process of going into each meeting.
yeah, reason for
And
it
and I talk to everybody on the board. I'm not one of these. He was elected, and I think they point out in here that nobody ran against him or whatever, but he was elected, so it's his responsibility, and it's
Yeah.
our responsibility as a board to try to come up with a solution. We got to work together. We need to have spirited debate, and that was the point he was trying to make with his calling for the chair to be removed, was that order wasn't maintained when he was going off, and I've told this to Mr. Spalding, like, it's a natural reaction. I'm not saying you can't say whatever you want, right? You have your First Amendment rights. You can say whatever. There's court cases that he cites all the time, but you're not, just people are going to react emotionally. It happens in Congress on subcommittee and committee meetings all the time, and it's not a freedom of speech from my perspective. It's you said something that garnered an emotional response from more than one person. And for me, it's easy to not be emotional, right? I was in the military, so I had to sit in meetings where all kinds of things would be said or implied or everything else, and I had to keep my mouth shut. So I can sit there, listen, and not be offended. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not offended or anything, but right. I can not show emotion. Now, you say that I do make facial expressions quite a bit, which I need to work on, especially when half of my face is paralyzed, so I don't understand how I'm making face. Now, I might react like, oh, my gosh, because, again, it's all we're all emotionally driven. We're not robots.
Next meeting, should I bring the camera and I'll just put it on you and you can, we'll watch it back at some point?
No, you've made me aware that I make faces.
It's not like bad ones. It's just, it's fun to watch, though.
I had when I was a battalion commander, the brigade commander told me that I make faces.
Sometimes you'll give the
He's like, I know
face,
you. He's like, but you make some faces, and I'm like, well, it's my nonverbal way of communicating that I disagree with or I agree with something's being said. But anyway, at the end of the day, the article's out there on the Eagle Times, and it's talking about tumultuous school board meetings. And at some point we have to all find common ground, which I think we have, which is the improvement of the students. And what I told Mr. Spalding, and I think I said it actually at the meeting, is people are going to react, and they're not robots. And it would have been wrong in the instance that they're referring to where he called Miss Glancy an encyclopedia salesperson, it was perceived as being derogatory by more than one person, and they reacted to it. And at the end of the day, you need to just say, hey, it's my floor until the chair recognizes someone else. And he used a different example. It wasn't just that meeting. He provided an example from his first meeting when he was elected in March or April of 2021, where he was interrupted 2 or 3 times by someone and no one got the meeting back to order. And so really what it is I think is, hey, everybody on the board, we need to try to respect each other, whether we agree or disagree. Let them finish what they say, and then try to wait till you're called on and recognized by the chair, because we try to use Robert's rules. And, that's my take on it. And you can agree or disagree with me, but my take is let people say what they want to say.
Yeah, you have to. It's supposed to be, that's why there's 5 people there, because it's different opinions and whatever. It's just the point is you need to.
Yeah, they had an emotional reaction. At least, I can't speak to his first meeting that he brought up, but I can speak to that one, which is, it's only natural. I'm a realist, right? I try to be practical about things. Yes, they shouldn't have, right? Because he can say just about almost anything that he wants, right?
Yeah.
And, whether I agree with it or disagree with it, then when it's my turn, I can be like, well, I find that offensive, blah, blah, blah. You can say that, and I'm sure Mr. Spalding would sit there and be like, okay. Right? But his point is they talked over him, and he looks at that as a free speech thing, whereas I look at it as a procedural. Right. It was just a procedural thing, and we all need to be reminded, because, yes, the chair is responsible.
It's almost a respect thing, too, just respect when you're talking, and then when I'm talking, don't interrupt. And I get it, because I've been in meetings before where it's tough because you want to say something because you have something that would really add to it right then and there, and if you wait, I get it, and that's the challenge of being chair, is keeping the order.
Yeah, and heck, even the night I filled in, I was bumbling, nervous.
It's not easy. I've only chaired one zoning board meeting. Like I said, I've been off I think 5 years. We have another one this Thursday. We'll see what happens. But so I'm the vice chair, and I had a chair, and it happened to be one of the bigger meetings we've had in a while. But it's just kind of let everyone speak. And yeah, the meeting went for a while, but it was you just want people to feel that at least they're being acknowledged what their concern is. And a lot of times I can't necessarily give them the answer they want or fix it, or maybe they don't like what's being said, but at least they get the information they're trying to get so that at least all the information's out there, and then just allowing them to talk and be like, okay, and then the next person, and so no, it can be a challenge, that's for sure. Like, but the thing I said I thought was funny. I was like, you guys are supposed to be like a train moving towards the station, right? And I was like, you guys are a freaking circus right now because just nothing's getting done. It's just like I don't know.
Yeah, well, we have the new superintendent coming in.
Yes, which that's the whole thing that kind of got me too, because you have a new super coming in, or interim one in July.
So we need her input now.
Yes, you can't do crap really until then. Like, you really can't. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to make all these big decisions, and what if she's not on board with them? What if she has information that's like, that doesn't work? I've been to a place in that. So you're kind of almost in a little bit of a pause to that point. Of course, now you had a plan. Now you don't have a principal up there, so you don't have a plan no more. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. The timing was just
right.
not,
and so
you know?
like I didn't disagree with the plan. I had more questions. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so
and some of the problem is Bert, and I've mentioned this in a meeting before with someone else that I had, and I was like, if Bert was just some arrogant person that just spewed off information, it'd be easy to write him off. But 90% of the time when he says something, it's accurate and to the point, and it's just the delivery in which things are said or whatever. So, you know, because some people just come in.
and he's not going to change for anyone, no matter
Right.
what any of us do. And I mean, he is who he is. And
Right.
so if you know that going into it, and I'm not justifying, you know what I
No.
mean? Like, I don't say things the way that he does because I'm not him, right? We all have our differences, and that's why I try to get along with everybody on the board, right? Like, that's,
Well, yeah, of
at the
course.
end of the day, yeah, we're going to disagree on this topic or that topic maybe.
We're still
But
supposed
you
to be
got to have
working for the town.
Right. We're trying to make things better for the kids,
Right.
for the town, and I truly believe that that's what Mr. Spalding wants.
Yeah, it's just, like I said many times, it's just kind of the delivery of how he says something. I think that's the issue. And I think we're just in a weird period of time, too. Once the new interim super comes in, I feel like it's a fresh slate in a way. Okay, now we're going to, because you can't build off of anything yet, really, until that happens, right? Because
The plan that she had briefed, they started working on it, obviously, before
yes,
we'd asked for it.
yes.
And so,
that plan is for sure, yeah. It's
and
always
just
been
as
in the works.
somebody who has been in meetings and watched and everything else, I fully believe that some of the questions that, because of the way that it was presented, right? So I think she had the answers to the questions that we had. It's
Right.
just that it got personal,
Right.
and so it's just like in physics, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And so if you don't recognize that,
Right.
then, and again, I'm not, you know,
So your next meeting is July. There's not another June one, right?
right.
So the next meeting in July, the new.
New super will be on board.
Okay, so that's good at least. So the next meeting, we should expect that things kind of get back on track, right? In a way, I mean, and obviously,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
can't
she's-
speak for everybody,
right,
but
well-
but in theory, it should be now
We're
we
gonna
have.
have a new principal coming in, and Patrice wore like what, I don't know. They said 4 to 7 different hats that she
Yeah.
did. I mean, she did a lot of work that a lot of people probably don't know that she did. That
Right,
Might have or might not have been in her job description.
and you're hoping you'll have a new principal by then, or
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to try to get a principal in as soon as possible because really,
that's
from our
important.
input, right? So we want to improve. So that's not going to change.
Right,
So, you know, at least not for me. It's like I want to keep improving. I want to.
right. So if
You
we
know,
don't
there's
get
a mark
one,
on the wall, and so, but at the end of the day, they got to come in and they got to look at what's going on and how it fits in with their philosophy, and you know, either we continue with the plan, they tweak the plan, or they come up with a whole new one, which is the challenge with a high turnover rate because you have new teachers coming in that have different teaching philosophies and styles that may or may not be congruent with the grade above and below, and you want to try to get it in so that there is an in sync teaching philosophy throughout. And the reason why, if I recall from that meeting in February or March, is that kindergarten and first grade kind of sets the tone for the rest, right? So
Right.
we need improvement across, and that's why I go back to it takes parental input. At the end of the day,
It's very true.
come out, show support for the teachers, for the board, for the education system. Let your voices be heard. We've all, most of us have been to school, so we have we have our own opinions, and they matter. Right. Just because you're not a teacher doesn't mean that you haven't recognized something that works with your kid or doesn't work or worked with you. And if you have a question of why we're not doing that anymore, come and ask it.
Yeah.
You might not get an answer right away, right? Because that's not necessarily how the board functions, because it's supposed to be a business meeting where we talk about direction, finances, and resources, right? That's what our goal is, to provide the resource. Anyway, come on out to the school board meetings.
Yeah, like, show up. Show up. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, show up to the meeting, and
they're still able to come in by Zoom, so even if you can't make it,
you
Zoom
can
in.
still Zoom in and watch it, or watch on
Watch it,
NCTV.
participate it. You can sign up ahead of time through Zoom. Like, you can say, hey, can y'all put me on the public comment list?
You also can send in a letter and ask that it be read. That was done last meeting. So there's certainly
it's kind of interesting, because a meeting I went to as a citizen, they took a vote to read the letter out loud, and I remember I can't remember his name, the guy that wore the Superman mask,
Russell or something.
Russell, yes. He had actually voted against reading it out loud, which I thought was interesting. But anyway, but the last time we didn't vote. It's those kinds of things that I, as a new board member, trying to learn, because you also have to have consistency.
Right.
And we don't have consistency unless we talk about these things and say, hey, we did it this way last time. How,
No, I was talking
what's the right way to do it?
I was talking to Lydia last night. I think she said that there's only one 8th grade teacher from this year that's going to be there next year. The other 3 are going to be new. And then the 7th grade was missing, was it one teacher all year? And I don't know. It's like it's crazy. You can't keep turning over staff constantly every year.
Well, it's also interesting, too, because you also have, not just within the teaching profession, but all professions, you have a shortage of personnel across the board.
Love
so
knowing
now
these
you're
people
competing with wherever everybody's getting their money from.
I don't know. We haven't figured the trick out yet. There's got to be a trick. There's got to be something.
Is it? I don't know.
I don't know.
All government assistance?
I don't know. Maybe we should just, these people coming across the border, like, of course they're coming across the border for free stuff, but like, all right, cool, come across here, and you can work at McDonald's, you can work here, you can work there, because no one else wants to work there, so.
Well, that's what they say, too, right? That's why you need a population of immigrants, is because, like a job at McDonald's is considered a start-off job. That's considered for, like, high schoolers, college kids.
But I think you have a lot of high schools that aren't working anymore, too. I mean, obviously, like, not my kids or not a lot of their friends, but there has to be, because it's just, like when I was a kid, I worked at Village Pizza. That was a job for high school, or you could work at McDonald's or whatever. And, like, I mean, McDonald's closed at 7 o'clock the other night because they couldn't have staff, or didn't have staff. And, like, I don't know. I mean, I think you have baby boomers that are retiring, which I think, pandemic or no pandemic, that was going to be happening soon. But where did the other people go that should have took their place that generation after generation has happened? Like, not everyone's now a CEO at some big company. There's still always going to be workers out there, right? Like, I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about. So millennials, they had they had a rough go at it in the late 2000s. The housing market crashed. You had all the big banks too big to fail. Well, they should fail. They made bad decisions.
Yeah, it's funny that
unless somehow people have tapped into, well, if banks are too big to fail, I'm too small to fail, so maybe they're getting.
No, that doesn't.
I know they're not, but
it's so funny because they tax.
Now that was the biggest crock. Banks too big to fail. Sorry, let's reset the system then. If you made bad decisions, you reap what you sow. We all do.
Right.
At least that's how justice is supposed to work. If you made bad decisions.
How can you be too big to fail?
Yeah, I just think that's a sham.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, you're too big of a company to fail, so we're going to bail you out. Oh, and then you're going to pay your CEOs all these huge bonuses?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, totally happened in the auto industry? Like,
well, it's kind of like with the COVID lockdown. Most small businesses shut down, will never come back, but yet all the billionaires are bigger billionaires, more wealthy billionaires.
They said 40% of the small, or 40% of restaurants under COVID or during COVID went out of business and didn't reopen. 40%. And none of them were McDonald's or Burger King or any of these big companies. They were small places like, our business was, or that kind of thing. And ours was obviously not related to COVID. However, not reopening was related to inflation and everything else that is insane right now. So
yeah, you can't make a affordable sandwich for
how can you make
the size of our town? You know what I mean? Like, you want to be able to make good quality food at a reasonable price that people enjoy, because it's an atmosphere thing too. You come in there, sit down, talk, see people. A little bit different than, obviously, way different than McDonald's, but it was good food.
But I got to tell you though,
But you were saying the price of meat, it would be like to make the sandwiches you want to be, you'd have to charge like $17 to even turn enough profit to keep staying open. That's not even making money.
Right. So the profit margin wasn't good anyways. Like, it wasn't. However, now
it's even worse.
Yeah, you'd have to add so much more money, like charge so much more for the product and still not make any more money, even though everything's gone up, everything. So I don't know. I don't know how some of these small places do it. And
it's all intentional. Like,
I agree too. Like, I went to McDonald's this morning and I'm trying to get better at I usually only get breakfast there. I try not to eat like a lot of fast food, and I'm trying to get even better at eating, go kind of back to where I was at one point, because I've kind of slacked off like with the gym and stuff. So I had a sausage biscuit or whatever and an orange juice. It was $10.17.
You used to be able to get like 4 breakfast meals with a little orange juice, hash brown. For, 10,
when we had the market,
$12.
When we had the market, you get the same thing, not on a biscuit, say on an English muffin, the same exact thing was like $4.99 or $5, whatever, and then your drink was $1 or $2. But so it was 60% of what the cost of that is, and it's like.
And McDonald's is not necessarily known for its healthy.
No. Even if you got the equivalent at a regular restaurant, it's still not as healthy. Like, McDonald's is worse for you,
right?
Because they're not conscious of anything they put in their food.
Well, it's mass produced.
Yes,
at
it's just
the cheapest price.
Yep. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. But Brewfest this weekend, we've talked about that a bunch. And then obviously the thing I'm excited about is Wings and Wheels on the 25th. So next Saturday, 11 to 2.
To tie it back in, though, before we get too far.
All right.
So the article about the school board, there is a vacancy because Ms. King resigned her position. So it's on the website if you're interested. There's a questionnaire you fill out. You answer the questions. You got to have it submitted. That has a date, and it's early July. You got to have it submitted, and then you need to be at the school board meeting to answer questions. If there's more than one that's interested. So if you're interested and you feel like you can make a difference, you want to make a difference, you don't have to be the best public speaker to. No. Because, heck, I'm a pretty good public speaker, but even I'm nervous at this because it's something totally different, and it takes time to learn and figure out. And, teams, it's a team, but it's not, right? Because we all have different values, and somebody might come up. I might have 10 people come up and talk to me slightly differently than they may go and talk to Jenna about something. Right. And so, as a representative of the town, if I have 10 people come up to me about a topic and talk to me about something, then I feel like I have a duty to voice it, and that's how I try to approach things.
Right.
And I've gotten contacted a lot because, between the superintendent and Miss Glancy and the turnover in general, it's not healthy.
No, it's not good at all. It has to.
Cost investment wise. So there's an opening. If you feel like you can make a difference, submit the requirements and come to the next school board meeting, and we'll interview you, and then we'll take a vote, and we'll pick the one that convinces us most that they're qualified, best fit for the position. And
right. It's funny because I've said this before, and like I said again, of course, like I'll go to those meetings and speak in front of you guys, and I get nervous, and I don't speak as well as, we do the show with a camera on us. I mean, we're not looking at the camera very often, or even if we had people here, like, it would still not be, it's just so different. Or I go to a zoning board. I mean, I've been on a zoning board with 20 people in the audience. Nothing. No, like, it's something about standing at, maybe we should put a desk up there like this. Let's get rid of the lectern. Let's sit at a desk and then talk. I feel more comfortable then. But so if you're not like a public speaker and you're like, oh, I can't, trust me, it's different when you're at the table as a board than it is if you're standing at that lectern, because it's way different. And trust me, I'm trying to get better at it, and you just try to keep getting better and better and better. And I feel I'll usually go after some teachers. It's all they do is speak in public. Like if it's in front of a class, like they're so good at it. And then I'll get up there and I'm like, and I'll have a lot of times like really good points, and it's hard to get it across as well as someone just stood up there because they're just so good at public speaking.
If you're voicing an opinion that may not be a popular opinion.
Yeah, that too.
You know what I mean? Like, because I don't know, we went for 2 years, and I think even Miss Mitchell said it at the thing in her farewell speech was she disagreed with me as a parent, but found me open-minded as a board member, because it's different, right? When you're going and you're speaking from the lectern, and you know that you're saying things that people don't want to hear, and to some point, I think that's how Mr. Spalding approaches things. It's just that when he called her an encyclopedia salesperson, it was perceived, and I can't talk for him.
We should get Mr. Spalding on the show.
You think he'd come on?
Of course he would. He'd come on.
Well, let's invite him and
we'll do it.
Asking what his thought process was.
Yeah. Because we won't attack him here. Like, we'll just ask questions. I mean, it's just not us.
Well, if you listen to what everybody had said,
it's all the same. Nobody stands up there and says,
points.
yes.
It's just that
nobody stands there and says, you're an idiot and you don't know what you're talking about. Right. Because they can't. Because what he's saying, the valid points. It's just the delivery. That's all it is.
It's his analogies.
Yes. It's just that.
And part of it, I think, is also, he pushes the envelope to remind everybody that not all speech is rosy and kind and everything else. And I think that some of that is his point is,
yes,
I can say whatever I want, and you got to listen to me.
Yeah.
And, that's his style. That's who he is. None of us are going to change that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even all of them coming up there, maybe, I don't know. But I don't feel like it, right? I don't feel like he's going to change who he is, because if you listen to what he says, it's all about his rights to say the things that you don't want to hear. And
I think the biggest thing is he just needs to feel like he's part of the team. And I think there was just the line got crossed with him and the super that's there now. And I'm telling you, that's what set it all off. And so I'm hopeful, at least hopeful, that when the new super comes in, that can change. And then things can get back on track. And we'll see.
Right. Well, I mean,
next month, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't really know what else to say about that. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that.
Yes, definitely. SAU43.org. There's
you scroll down and it'll say vacant position.
Yeah, click on that.
PDF file you can download, print up, and it'll tell you everything.
Fill it out, get it back to them, and
show up to the next meeting in July.
Yeah. You just have to live in Newport. It's the only requirement, and you have to be 18. But that's about it. Wings and Wheels on the 25th. 11 to 2 at Parlin Field. Excited about that. We'll be there for that.
That's this weekend?
Next weekend.
Next weekend.
Brewfest is this weekend. And then Rolling Thunders event at the Moose, 4:30, 10 o'clock. $25 per person, barbecue, dinner, and a band. It all benefits Rolling Thunder, which is a bike club that I've done a bunch of events with in the past too, and they're veterans, and they do a lot for different veteran organizations and stuff. So, yeah, it's a good thing. We took a long time on some of these things, so I'm just going to skip over some stuff, which is fine because I was having a hard time finding local stuff today. But so we kind of covered a lot of good local stuff with that. So, but I guess so. Woodstock, Vermont, there was a shooting yesterday, but it wasn't.
Really?
It wasn't a shooting like you think. The way they tried, like I saw it on, I'm like, wait, what? You think shooting like shootings we've seen around the country? No, it was some bad guy that apparently Jay Wilson is the suspect, 45 years old. So it was Woodstock, Vermont. Sounds like he killed his mother's friend, and then allegedly, this is all allegedly because it's just a story, and then he was having like a shootout with the police. And the SWAT team was there and stuff, and it went on for quite a while. And then he finally committed suicide. So, a little bit of scary times in Woodstock, Vermont. Not a place known for any sort of craziness. Yesterday, luckily, no police officers were hurt in this incident, and they haven't released the name of the other person yet. Obviously, you got to notify family and whatever. And then, so there's that. I'm going to skip this one. Tomorrow, let's talk about Harmony Montgomery, because it'll take a little bit of time. She's the little girl that disappeared. And it was a case between New Hampshire and, between Massachusetts and New Hampshire that's had a lot of scrutiny. And they, had a search warrant for some apartment the other day, and they took a freezer out. So I don't know, when they take a freezer out, it makes me worried that why, and I'm thinking maybe that I don't know, but there's a lot we could talk about on that one. So let's talk a little more about that tomorrow, just because I think it opens up a whole bigger topic about DCYF that we've talked a little bit off air and on air, and I've talked with some other people about a little bit too, and so let's save that one for tomorrow, so that way we can get into that more. One thing that's kind of funny, I don't know if it's funny, but it's a real topic, but at the same time, I'll point out the joke of it. But so today is World Elder Abuse Day, so the White House picked this thing out. So today is Don't Pick on Joe Biden Day. But
we started off by making fun of.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I don't care. What I'm finding funny about this whole thing, and obviously this is a real thing, but as far as Biden there's been so much talk about elder abuse, kind of from his wife, he's not capable of performing the duties in which he's bound to right now, and that's elder abuse right in front of our very eyes. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I have the meme of the day. If I can,
there are people who will tell you that that's all a media-driven narrative. Even though you can watch him on Jimmy Kimmel, as it goes on, he starts being more and more unable to finish a thought, complete sentences. I
mean, potentially, because if you wanted to create a character which was hard to go after, scrutinize, coming out as the President of the United States and being not capable of doing your job and can't finish sentences and stuff, yeah, I guess it would be hard to go after that. But, however, you have the title as President of the United States.
Well, it's a double standard, right? So even if you're not a fan of Trump,
right?
Trump was called on constantly to have his mental capacities evaluated.
Right.
And you try to bring it up with Biden, and they laugh and why would you even say that? That's
right.
That's a non-issue.
Well, so clearly, it's not.
So from my perspective, as someone who cares about consistency and fairness, right?
Right.
like, just be consistent and fair. Obviously, y'all didn't like how Trump would mean tweet about, because he'd go off and say things that you're like, well, that's not very presidential according to what we've been taught, how presidents should act. And now, when Biden appears to be unpresidential, you're a jerk for bringing it up.
Right. Yeah.
So that's my point. Is it's just a double standard. Like,
right. There's so many. Well,
it's not whataboutism. They did it with Trump, and now when you try to do it with Biden, it's why would you even ask that? Like, it's a non-issue. And it's I asked that because if you watch Jimmy Kimmel as it goes on, he can't really complete his thoughts by the end of the interview, and Jimmy Kimmel's like talking to a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Trying to summarize. You got a comedian. And some of this, I'm obviously influenced because I watched a Jimmy Dore clip about this. But you have a comedian,
right?
So I'll give Jimmy Dore his credit. But he pointed it out. You got a comedian that was on the Man Show, where, by today's standards, he would be canceled, or they would try to cancel him.
He would definitely be canceled. Yeah. That's why I like.
But you know what I mean. So you have this guy, and he's babying and completing the president's thoughts on air. By the end of the interview. Yeah. It's concerning to me.
Yeah, it's concerning to all of us that live in this circus.
It is a circus.
It is. All right, meme of the day. This one's funny. This is so true today. I called my job from jail to tell them why I can't make it. They freaking bailed me out and made me come to work. This is something I could see happening today. Or my car won't start. I can't make it to work. We'll come get you.
No, it's why I don't understand. What am I missing?
I don't know. We got to find someone that has an answer.
Somebody
to
needs
this.
to email us and tell us, or come on the show and school us. Maybe it's we're so myopic in our own. I mean, I try not to be, right? I try to look at all sides. I mean, sometimes you get annoyed at me because I'm like, what did you think about this? But you know what I mean? Like, you got to have. I don't know. I look back to, I did debate in high school, and you'd have to debate a topic that you may agree or disagree with. So you basically had to know both sides of the topic, and you had to
to challenge you.
You had to convince, even if you didn't believe it, you had to seem convincing enough in your presentation to win. Yeah. And so, maybe that's why I try to look at everything from all sides before I make my decisions. And and I'm still flawed, right? We all have biases. We're all biased, by the way. Like, you can't get rid
of course.
It's a mechanism that we have built over time to protect us.
Correct.
For our longevity, we develop biases.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Ready for this should be this is now going to be the joke story of the day.
All right.
You ready for this one? World Health Organization will rename monkeypox to avoid stigma and racism.
Is that real?
Yeah.
What are they going to rename it to? Shingles?
That would be racist and stigma to shingles on your house.
How is monkeypox racist?
Well, apparently.
Does it say?
So the World Health Organization officials will meet in an emergency session next week to evaluate the international outbreak of monkeypox.
They're going to rename it and rebrand it to try to convince people.
Yeah, monkeypox isn't scary. We'll have to name it,
flesh-eating leishmaniasis.
Something
that was something they had in the rats that they had us all scared of getting.
So the international outbreak of monkeypox, and determine whether the virus should be considered a global health emergency. And they will also rename the virus after scientists raised concerns that the name monkeypox is racist. If you're a scientist and you're concerned about the name of monkeypox, then you suck at your job, because real scientists care about science and would be about the virus, not, I don't know.
So
the
smallpox biased against
small people? Yes. We should change everything, because we live in a world now where everything offends everybody. So I know.
You have to be. It gives people agency, right? So I have this. Now I'm special. Now you got to treat me differently. And if you talk to me, and if you call me out on my bad behavior, then you're an ist of some kind, because I'm not responsible for my own actions.
Yeah, so I want to point out the hypocrisy of the story, too. So the racist monkeypox, okay, that we need to change to something else because it's racist. Got it? Also, international experts have linked the spread of monkeypox to communities of men who have sex with men, but the virus is not a sexually transmitted disease. It is spread skin-to-skin contact with someone who has monkeypox sores, and as well as direct contact with materials such as body fluids or sores, or including clothes. So apparently, according to
So they're going to make us wear a mask now, even though it's spread by contact,
apparently,
which I won't do.
The international experts here said the monkeypox, was spread in these men having sex with men communities, but it's not sexually transmitted; it's contact, right? But apparently, if females and males are having sex, there's not the same contact or something, because just like AIDS, we wanted to blame homosexual men for. Now the World Health Organization is blaming monkeypox, racist monkeypox, on the gay men in Europe.
Belgium at the rave. So it's okay to be, I don't know, homophobic or what do you, that's not I don't even know if it's
like it's okay to
it's
discriminate
just the AIDS playbook
or
again.
yes, it's not okay to be racist.
So what you read with my non-scientific, non-doctor thing, you and I, like if you had a sore right there and we're shuffling our chairs and
yes,
we touch contact,
yep,
then I can get monkeypox.
correct.
So what does it have to do with being gay?
I don't know. I mean, we could call the World Health Organization, but I don't think they'll answer.
I think it's just to try to create more
And remember,
conflict between groups of people, right? So they're trying to get people to be like, only gay people get it, whatever. And I don't know. Hey, be in shape. Stop eating McDonald's, all of us, because I eat McDonald's every once in a while too. Exercise. Take your vitamins, whatever Hulk Hogan used to say, right? Be proud to be an American. Exercise. Worry about yourself. Take care of yourself, and everything else will take care of itself. But the best thing that any of us can do is to be in shape, lose weight. I mean, 5 years ago, being obese was like a factor of you're going to die early. And now if you say that, you're fat shaming. Well, you need to lose some weight. We all do. Like I'm probably on the obese scale.
you just turned this whole
my
article
height.
about the racist monkeypox into me and you fat shaming us.
Yeah, well, it's all connected, man. It's all the same type of baloney.
Yeah.
Right? Like the best thing you can do is be in shape, eat healthy, drink water, stop drinking Cokes, stop eating processed meats, right? Like lower your intake of lunch meat. The problem with it is they've increased groceries so much that it's cheaper to go and get a $10 meal at McDonald's than to buy,
Fruits and vegetables.
Fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables are the most expensive thing that you can buy.
Yeah. It's true. I bet the lab meat will be cheaper though.
All I know is a skirt steak in New England costs $27, and in Texas it used to cost like $4 because it's garbage meat that you make fajitas out of.
Yes.
And you try to go buy skirt steak, and they act like it's a delicacy or something. It's literally the cheapest meat. It's just like chicken wings were thrown out back in the day, and now chicken wings are unaffordable. You can't.
Yeah, my grandfather used to tell me that his mom would go to the butcher and she would get chicken wings for free because it was junk. It was trash meat, and they were poor. And now chicken wings cost more than chicken breast usually.
Yeah.
It's hard to get. Yeah.
That's all. I mean, supply and demand, right? So obviously that's a driving factor of it.
Right.
But come on,
Yeah. And then this last thing
wake up.
we'll do, and then we'll get into it. So a lot of my prep will be done for tomorrow, Steve.
Nice. You'll be able to just walk right in here and start shooting.
Right. The show.
Yes.
Bad words.
Okay, what are we, the PC police now? Shooting. I guess I should pronounce my NGs. Shooting.
We'll start taping the show.
Taping the show. Thank you for correcting my language.
I'm a professional. Former Biden aide says high gas prices won't matter if an insurrection is successful and you're all living under martial law.
Who's going to lead this insurrection?
I don't know. Some people.
The common man who gets tired and realizes they can't drive affordably to go visit mom and dad, or I was sitting there thinking about on the drive home this morning, if this continues, how am I going to get Zeta? Like, how much is an airline ticket going to cost?
Yeah.
How much is gas going to cost me to drive 3 days to go pick her up?
But I want you to realize that this right here, January 6th, that's more important than those gas
that
prices.
was about January 6th?
Yeah. The former top aide, Joe Biden, said that gas prices won't matter to people, or if people are living under martial law after an insurrection is successful. Simone Sanders made the comments in Hell and High Water podcast by John Helleman.
I mean, how you have got to be so biased in your thinking if you really think that was an insurrection.
Yeah, these people are these people are morons. Sanders was defeating. No, this is what's funny is she's.
I saw a clip of Britt Hume yesterday because my brother had on the news or Fox News or a clip maybe on YouTube or whatever. And come on, man, seriously, an insurrection. Look around the world, and you'll see what an insurrection looks like.
Yeah, that happened.
Protest.
That insurrection happened when we left all the stuff to the Taliban in Afghanistan that we, gave the country back to them. But let me finish this article. Okay,
we allegedly blew it up or made it. Non-functioning.
Sanders was defending Republican Rep. Liz Cheney of Wyoming, who will no longer be rep.
Her polling
when she criticized progressive for saying that the televised January 6th committee hearing was not relevant because gas prices are so high. What is it going to matter? It matters for our democracy, said Sanders. Those people at the Capitol that day, they went home, and that's the thing that really keeps me up at night. For people that said they didn't watch the first hearing, I got into a very spirited debate with some of my young people, and I'm like, do you all not care? And you're all like, oh, but gas, she said, continued. The gas won't matter if an insurrection was successful and you're all living under martial law, Sanders said. So I really think that people have to, everyone just needs to take a breath, or take a breather, she concluded. And if you think January 6th doesn't matter, if you think this is something that just happened, well over a year and a half ago at this point, and we just need to move on, you are sorely mistaken. Sanders was also formerly a spokesperson for Vice President Kamala Harris before leaving that troubled office and order the blah, 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 blah. But these freaking morons, let's think about it. They only want to try to make it so Trump can't run again because they don't want to face Trump in any way.
Neither party does.
Neither party.
I don't think he's...
No.
But it's weird, too, because he endorses people that you wouldn't think that he would endorse on the Republican side. It's all political theater.
Out of 85 people that he endorsed, I think all but this was a little while ago, but all but 3 of them won their primaries. Another guy was just primaried out last night.
Even the New York Times, I think, is on the record for saying we've lost the economy, which is what she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we need to get people scared because that's the only way they're going to get people to vote for them. So they're generating fear. That's what she's trying to say, an insurrection. And I'm not saying that people didn't violate the law on January 6th, that there weren't some lawbreakers. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is that's not an insurrection.
No.
An insurrection would have been possibly a lot more contentious. I'm choosing my words wisely, but it would have been violent. An insurrection is usually violent, and there's people who are captive, and there's shootouts. Look around the world where there are actual insurrections that have gone on in the last few years.
Yeah.
Somewhere over in I can't remember the country, not Malaysia, but somewhere over there, they're in basically what she's describing, but they're also like looking for politicians. Citizens are to citizens arrest them because of the bad decisions that they made. Like that's the people taking over their government again. Like when politicians can't go outside, that's
Right.
to me, that's what I think of when I think of an insurrection. Do people violate the law? Yeah.
Yeah, they walked into a building the police let them into.
Right. So I mean, there was some setup going on, but they still they crossed over the ropes in some of the offices, right? They
Yeah, a few of the people.
There was stuff stolen or whatever. So there was some.
Of course, there was the
broken.
photo op before it even happened.
Where the cops were all posing with them, and
Yeah. Bet you didn't hear about that on the.
But anyway, the whole point is the guy is a strategist for the Democratic Party in the New York Times, quoted as saying, I think it's the New York Times, we have to generate fear because we've lost the economy. And so
Right.
exactly what he's saying now, she's going out and she's operating on it. If you watch the news, and somebody pointed this out to me, like 7 news outlets all came out with basically the same story at the same time on the same day. It's like it's coordinated.
Yeah.
And it's to generate fear so that you're scared of, Republicans or Democrats. And, it goes on both sides. But right now it's to be scared of Republicans
Right.
because, they all believe that allegedly more votes being cast than registered voters is not a sign that there's something wrong with our election system.
No.
Yeah. I mean, most of the people who are watching the show are probably agreeing with most of what we're saying anyway, but at the end of the day, it's a game that they're playing, and they're trying to literally manipulate your emotions, just like they manipulate ours on the non-party front, right? It's all manipulation. At the end of the day, be a good person, stand up, voice your concern, and just vote. Do a bunch of write-in candidates, make them to where the machines can't, like write-in candidates that aren't in the system. Like, it means nothing to me if the Democrat or Republican Party vets you or whatever. Like, that means nothing to me.
No,
What
you
that
want the
means
ones they
is
didn't
you're going to
want.
go and you're going to toe the party line. I want somebody to go and toe the what's best for New Hampshire, what's best for the country, not what's best for Ukraine, not what's best for China,
Right.
Russia. I want what's best for the U.S. And I'm not saying go back to the old policy of, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but where we were solely focused on America, right? And we didn't care about what was going on outside our borders. I'm not saying fully go on that because in this day and age, everything's connected. So you got to be abreast and you got to have some strategic goals that go outside your borders. But what I'm saying is $40 billion for Ukraine to have weapons so that they can defend themselves against Russians
Because they try to take our weapons.
as they try to take our weapons
It's funny, isn't it?
because of some bad actors.
But can you imagine the concept of putting like America first? Can you imagine that concept? That's just crazy. I mean, it is our tax dollars. It's not the federal government's money. It's our money that we work for that they give away to everybody else. So you're going to thank the U.S. for all this, but you should actually be thanking the people and not the government because
Yeah.
but they just
Nothing's
launder that
free.
back to themselves.
Somebody's paying for it.
Yeah, that was our meme yesterday. All right, positive meme so we can wrap this bad boy up. Let go. You have to let go of the feelings that no longer being that no longer bring positivity into your life. You do not need to prove yourself to others. You do not need to put yourself at the bottom of the priority list. You matter. So if you got negative thoughts, let go of them. Be positive. Go forward. Of course, you listen to our show, you probably get a lot of negative thoughts about a lot of things. But
I don't think so, man.
No.
I mean, there's hope out there. That's what I'm saying. Get in shape. Be
Yeah.
vocal. Go out, participate, and get to know your neighbors.
Yeah.
We got to rely on each other.
yeah, 'cause you
That's
can't-
why I'm building the big garden, is because at a certain point in time, somebody may need some fruits and vegetables to survive, and if I have extra, I will share.
We don't have any fruit.
Yeah, we do. Tomatoes are fruit.
All right, we don't have any real fruit. You have to plant an apple tree or something.
30 years from now, we'll get some apples. I probably can't afford a mostly grown apple tree. I'm sure those are pretty expensive.
Yeah, they're slow growing too. Yeah. Anyways, all right, guys, have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Thursday? Chief Thursday, we should call it. Chief Wilmot Thursday.
Is he going to be here tomorrow?
That's what he said.
Oh.
I mean, last week he said. If not, someone will have to dress up, pretend to be him. That'd be funny too. All right, guys, have a great day.